I've kept this secret for over 60 years, not because I was ashamed, but because I knew no one would believe me. When I was young, I could see things that weren't supposed to be there. Everyone thought I was sick until I met a priest who saw them too, and what he revealed to me that day changed everything I thought I knew about this world. My name is Marco Antonio Benedetti. I was born in a small village in southern Italy in 1940. It was a tiny place, maybe 200 people, surrounded by olive groves and vineyards. I grew up during the war. Those were dark times. Hunger everywhere, fear in every home, death around every corner, German soldiers marching through our streets, Allied planes dropping bombs in the distance. But even in that darkness, I saw light. Literally. I saw things that others couldn't see. It started when I was very young, maybe 4 or 5 years old. I would see figures, bright, glowing figures standing in the corners of rooms, walking through the streets, sometimes hovering near people who were sick or dying. They were beautiful, made of pure light, warm, peaceful, loving. At first I thought everyone could see them. I thought it was normal. I was wrong. I remember the first time I told my mother. I was maybe 5 or 6 years old. We were in church for Sunday Mass. The priest was at the altar saying the prayers, and I saw something incredible. A figure of light standing right next to him, brighter than the candles, brighter than the sun. I tugged on my mother's sleeve. "Mama, who is that bright man standing next to the priest?" She looked at me, confused. "What bright man?" "There's no one there, Marco." But I could see him clearly, a figure made of light, beautiful, peaceful, watching over the Mass. My mother touched my forehead. "Are you feeling sick? Do you have a fever?" I wasn't sick. I just saw things she couldn't see. As I grew older, the visions became stronger, more frequent, more detailed. I saw these beings everywhere, in the fields where my father worked, in the streets of our village, in our small stone house. Sometimes they would look at me. Sometimes they would smile, but they never spoke. Not then, anyway. They just watched, as if they were waiting for something. My family didn't know what to do with me. My father was a simple farmer, a practical man who believed in what he could see and touch. He thought I was lying for attention. "Stop making up stories, Marco. You're embarrassing the family." My mother was more sympathetic, but she was scared. She thought I was sick, maybe mentally ill. She took me to doctors in the nearby town. The doctors examined me carefully. They looked in my eyes. They tested my reflexes. They asked me questions for hours, but they found nothing wrong. "He's perfectly healthy," they said. "Maybe he has a vivid imagination." Then my mother took me to the priests. Our village priest was an old man named Father Giuseppe. He listened to my story with wide eyes. He didn't know what to say. "This could be a gift from God," he said, "or it could be something else." He recommended we see the bishop. The bishop was even more confused. Some priests thought I was blessed. Others thought I was possessed. They argued about me for weeks. In the end, they did nothing. They told my mother to pray for me and hope it would pass. It didn't pass. By the time I was 18, I had learned to keep quiet. I stopped talking about what I saw. I pretended to be normal. When I saw the beings of light, I looked away. I acted like they weren't there. I became very good at pretending. But inside, I was tormented. Was I crazy? Was I cursed? Was there something wrong with my brain? Why could I see these things when no one else could? I felt completely alone. isolated in a world no one else could understand. In 1958, everything changed. My grandmother was dying. She was 78 years old. She had been sick for months. Cancer had spread through her body. The doctors said she had days, maybe hours. Our entire family gathered around her bed to say goodbye. My parents, my aunts and uncles, my cousins. Everyone was crying, and that's when I saw something I will never forget. 3 figures stood around my grandmother's bed, brighter than any I had ever seen. So bright it almost hurt to look at them. They were watching her, not with sadness, with love, with anticipation. I knew somehow that they were there to take her home. I started crying, not just for my grandmother, but because I finally understood what these beings were. Angels. They were angels. My mother noticed my tears. "Marco, what's wrong? Why are you crying like that?" I couldn't lie anymore, not in that moment. "Mama, there are angels here. 3 of them. They're waiting for Nonna." The room went silent. Everyone stared at me, some with fear, some with disgust, some with pity. My father's face turned red with anger. He grabbed my arm hard. "Stop this nonsense. Not now. Not here. Have some respect." But my grandmother heard me. She was weak, barely conscious, but she turned her head slowly and looked at me, and she smiled, the most peaceful smile I had ever seen. "I know, Marco," she whispered. "I can see them too. They're beautiful, aren't they?" I nodded, tears streaming down my face. "Yes, Nonna, they're beautiful." She reached out and touched my hand. "Don't be afraid of your gift, child. It comes from God." She died 3 hours later, peacefully, with a smile on her face. I watched the angels take her away, and for the first time I wasn't afraid. After the funeral, my mother made a decision. She pulled me aside and said, "We're taking you to see Padre Pio." I had heard of him. Everyone in Italy had heard of him. The priest with the stigmata, the priest who could read souls, the priest who performed miracles. He lived in a monastery in San Giovanni Rotondo. People came from all over the world to see him. Some said he was a living saint. Others said he was a fraud. I didn't know what to believe. But my mother was convinced. If anyone can help you understand your gift, it's him. We traveled to San Giovanni Rotondo in the fall of 1958. It took us 2 days to get there, by train from our village to Naples, then another train to Foggia, then a crowded bus up into the mountains. Finally, we walked the last few kilometers on foot. The town was small but crowded. Thousands of people had come to see the famous priest, the sick, the desperate, the curious, the faithful, all waiting for a moment with Padre Pio. We waited for 3 days, 3 days in line just to attend his morning mass, 3 days of sleeping in doorways and eating stale bread. My mother never complained. She was determined. "He will help you, Marco. I know he will. God brought us here for a reason." I wasn't so sure. I was tired. I was hungry. I was starting to doubt. But I didn't want to disappoint her. On the 4th morning, we finally entered the church. It was 5 o'clock in the morning, still dark outside. The church was packed, hundreds of people squeezed into every corner, standing against the walls, sitting in the aisles. The air was thick with incense and anticipation. And then I saw him, Padre Pio, walking slowly to the altar. He was old, much older than I expected. His movements were slow, painful. Each step seemed to cause him suffering. He wore a brown Franciscan robe, simple, worn. His hands were wrapped in bandages, half gloves that covered his palms. I could see dark stains on them, blood, the stigmata. But that's not what caught my attention. What caught my attention was what I saw around him. Light, brilliant, golden light, and figures, dozens of them, the same beings I had seen my whole life, but more, so many more. They surrounded him like a crown. They moved with him as he walked. Some walked beside him, some hovered above him. All of them focused on him with what I can only describe as love. I had never seen anything like it, not even around my grandmother when she died. This was different. This was overwhelming. I must have gasped because my mother looked at me. "What is it, Marco? What do you see?" I couldn't speak. I just stared. My mouth was open. My hands were trembling. And then Padre Pio stopped in the middle of the aisle, surrounded by hundreds of people. He stopped walking. He turned his head, and he looked directly at me. His eyes found mine across the crowded church. Hundreds of people between us, but he looked at me like I was the only one there. His eyes were deep, old, ancient, full of knowledge, full of pain, full of love. And he smiled, a small knowing smile, as if he knew exactly what I was seeing, as if he could see it too. Then he nodded, almost imperceptibly, and continued walking to the altar. The Mass lasted over 2 hours. I didn't hear a single word of it. I just watched him, watched the angels around him, watched the light that surrounded him. I was hypnotized. After the Mass, my mother pushed through the crowd. She was a small woman, but fierce. She grabbed a friar by the sleeve. "Please, Father, my son needs to speak to Padre Pio. He sees things, visions. He's suffering. Please help us." The friar looked at me with tired, pitying eyes. He had probably heard this story 1,000 times. "Many people claim to see things, Signora. Padre Pio is very busy. There are hundreds of people waiting." My mother started to cry. "Please, we traveled for 2 days. We've been waiting for 3 days. Please." The friar shook his head sadly, but then a voice came from behind him, quiet, gentle, but commanding. "Let the young man come." We all turned. It was Padre Pio, standing in the doorway of the sacristy, looking at me. I walked toward him on trembling legs. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it. My hands were shaking. My mouth was dry. I didn't know what to say. What do you say to a living saint? But I didn't need to say anything. He spoke. "First, you see them, don't you?" His voice was gentle, almost a whisper. But in that whisper I heard understanding. I heard recognition. I nodded, unable to speak. "The bangs of light. They've been with you since you were a child." Tears filled my eyes, finally. Finally, someone understood. Someone who didn't think I was crazy. Someone who didn't think I was possessed. Someone who knew. "Yes, Padre. I see them everywhere, my whole life. I thought I was going crazy." He shook his head slowly. His eyes were kind. "No, my child, you're not crazy. You're blessed." He took my hand. His grip was weak, but warm. I could feel the bandages, the wounds beneath them, the wounds that had been bleeding for 40 years. "What you see," he said, "are God's messengers, angels. They are all around us, always. Not everyone can see them. Only a few are given this gift." I asked him the question that had haunted me my whole life. "Why me, Padre? Why can I see them? I'm nobody. I'm just a farmer's son." He looked at me with those deep, ancient eyes, eyes that had seen heaven and hell, eyes that had looked into thousands of souls. "Because God has a purpose for you, a mission. You are meant to bring comfort to the dying, to help them cross over without fear, to tell them what awaits on the other side, to be a bridge between this world and the next." I didn't understand. But Padre, I'm just a simple man. I have no education, no training. I'm no one special. He smiled. That's exactly why he chose you. The simple, the humble, the forgotten. God doesn't choose the powerful. He chooses the willing. He placed his hand on my head, and in that moment I saw something incredible. The beings of light around him moved closer. One of them reached out and touched my shoulder. I felt warmth spread through my entire body, from my head to my feet, a peace I had never known, a love I had never felt. And I heard a voice, not with my ears, inside my mind, inside my soul. Do not be afraid. We are always with you. You are never alone. I fell to my knees. I was sobbing like a child. Years of confusion, years of isolation, years of thinking I was broken. It all melted away. I wasn't cursed. I was chosen. Padre Pio lifted me up. His hands were gentle. Go now, he said. Live your life. But when the time comes, you will know what to do. The angels will guide you. They always have. Trust them. Trust God. Trust yourself. I tried to thank him, but he just smiled and turned away. He had other people to see, other souls to save. I never saw him again. But I never forgot him. I went home a different person. I was no longer afraid of what I saw. I was no longer ashamed. I understood now the angels were there to help, and I was meant to help others see that. Over the next 60 years, I did what Padre Pio said. I visited the dying, hospitals, hospices, homes, people who were afraid of death, people who had no hope, people who were alone. I would sit with them, hold their hands, and tell them what I saw. There are angels here. They're waiting for you. Don't be afraid. It's beautiful on the other side. Some believed me, some didn't. Some thought I was crazy. Some thought I was lying. But almost always I saw the fear leave their eyes. I saw peace come over their faces. I watched hundreds of people take their last breath, and every time I saw the angels take them home. I'm 84 years old now. My eyes are weak. My body is tired, but I still see them, the angels. They're here now as I tell this story, standing in the corners of the room, watching, waiting. I think they're waiting for me now, and I'm not afraid. I'm ready. Padre Pio died in 1968. I wept when I heard the news, the only person who truly understood me, gone. But sometimes, late at night, I smell flowers, roses, and I know he's still watching over me, still guiding me, still there. People ask me what angels look like. I tell them they look like light, pure, warm, loving light.